Ladies and gentlemen, Ubisoft is dropping more and more gameplay of Assassin's Creed Shadows as we creep up a little bit closer to that release date. We're talking big changes and updates have already been implemented, as we have a pretty extensive look at all the new stealth, combat mechanics, AI changes, and a boatload more. But it looks like Ubisoft finally wants to make some changes on how we approach our stealth combat, even going a little bit more in depth on how they plan on having us engage in combat, as well as how we plan on detecting things in the environment. And I'm going to tell you right now, some of these changes sound like a crucial breath of fresh air and something that Ubisoft and the Assassin's Creed games really needed. And by the way, consider hitting that like button for me. It helps me out a lot and lets me know you guys are enjoying the video. Thank you so much. So some of the changes that they brought over to the AI have been pretty interesting, so I wanted to start off with that. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, there's going to be certain enemy types that will be able to completely deny any assassination attempts. And it's not just based on like level difference from you and your enemy. For example, all the samurai types in this game are not going to be able to be assassinated once they're caught in a smoke bomb. That prompt that you get to assassinate that enemy will be removed, and they're going to look to flee the area to get out of the smoke, which I think is a pretty smart thing for them to add, so we can't just keep chaining assassinations everywhere that we go. They're kind of making us have a little bit more of a thought process on how we want to go about taking out these enemies. Samurais are also a lot more prone to denying any assassinations, as well as being able to slice through the brush when they're searching for you, which is going to give us less options to hide. And even though like these denying assassinations aren't completely new to the Assassin's Creed series, like in the past you still couldn't just walk up to an over-leveled enemy and take him out in one shot, especially in terms of like the elites that were all able to block your assassination attempts. But now simply extending that mechanic to other aspects of the game gives way more meaning to the person that's like looking to plan their attacks and how they're entering the camp versus somebody that's just kind of ripping and running. And this is also going to lean into us having to take more advantage of our upgrades and talent tree choices. Another part of the game that got some love is when the enemies do detect you, they're not going to be as easy to fool after the second or third time around. They're going to start to assume that any trick you do is just that, a trick. So the new built-in system within the AI is just going to think that you're going to try to bait them. So I kind of wonder how that's going to play out. This game also states with this quote that it's going to be expanding the AI with a suspicion and investigation mechanic. As it states, if you get detected and are able to disappear again, enemies are going to be able to search for you in pairs and are going to remain with more suspicion moving forward, which means the classic tactics that we're used to, like whistling to lure your enemies in, is only going to increase their suspicion even more. So the AI upgrades overall and what they stated is definitely a positive going their way, and with the amount of delays this game already seen, it looks like they're really finally taking their time to smooth out and smarten up some of the gameplay that we're going to be experiencing. Moving on from the AI though, I also wanted to touch on the new observation and eagle vision mechanics that have been introduced. So one of the main key changes to take away that are different from the modern day AC games is first the removal of our eagle companion, confirmed here with this post. So no more flying over enemy camps and marking them with air tags and being able to track every single movement throughout all the walls. All of that is pretty much kaput. And on that note, your character is going to be the one that has to put in all that work. With Ubisoft showcasing the new observe mechanic available for both the protagonists, this observation mechanic will allow us to identify, tag, and monitor targets, as well as highlight lootable stashes. So you can even see here when you zoom in on different structures, you can get an idea of what you're going to be expecting from inside said structure. Speaking about the map and the objective points, there's been some leaks showcased in Assassin's Creed Shadows that we're no longer going to be spammed with markers and points of interest just all over the map. Instead, you're going to be able to highlight manually when closely examining the location around your character, or when on top of a vantage point. And personally, I think this is a huge win for us and an even bigger upgrade to the game itself, because after playing like Baldur's Gate 3, or Elden Ring, even Dragon's Dogma, I truly have a new appreciation for not being spoon-fed every little piece of information. Like, let me be immersed in the world, let me go explore and find things out for myself. I don't need markers spammed across the screen. Now, I do want to bring up that the Eagle Vision will still be available through Nawe via her dedicated stat upgrades. So you could still always talent into that to track your enemies through walls, but now there's going to be different colors depending on the specific enemies. For example, these yellow silhouettes you'll see here that you don't really need to worry about in combat, but they still may alert the guards if they see you. Next up, I want to jump into the new stealth mechanics, because this is where I really feel that Assassin's Creed needs to go much more in depth, and I feel like they are. I felt like the last few AC games have felt a bit lackluster when it comes to how they have been approaching their stealth. But here in AC Shadows, they're bringing some new toys to play with, including the ability to stay in the shadows, as well as a new prone stance. So as you see here, we're hiding in the shadows, and it's going to make it so we're essentially invisible to enemies, especially during nighttime. And this goes for both interior and exterior spaces. And Ubisoft did speak about a new lighting engine coming into this game, so it looks like they are going to be full force bringing that to the table to us here. Now, what's really interesting is not only are we going to be able to use the existing shadows that we already have along the landscape, but we'll be able to create our own as we progress through the game using all the different light sources that come into play with this game, such as like lanterns that could be extinguished and a lot more. Now, to make this whole nighttime invisibility thing not like completely overpowered and broken, their choice of balancing this is a big emphasis on sound, and it's going to play a much bigger role with enemy detection. Quote, so when we sneak around, floors are going to creak and squeak, our footsteps are going to make a lot of noise that can alert nearby guards. Our footsteps can be muffled depending on what stance you're in, so it gives you more of a reason to be crouching around instead of just booking it through hallways. And it's kind of nice to know that we're going to have some serious consequences if you decide to go swords blazing or guns blazing versus the stealthy, more tactical playstyle. And this is where the prone mechanic is going to come into play. They expanded more on this, and it looks like a pretty cool way to be even more silent with all new animations and takedowns from this stance, as well as providing us with all new sets of moves. As they detailed, you can press the dodge button while prone to roll to like the sides, the front, the back, so it's easier to maneuver to make your assassinations or even hide in the bushes if you notice somebody coming. Now let's talk about the Shinobi and Assassin arsenal that they're going to be providing us with some details of what each character has access to. So we're going to be getting the smoke bomb that we already took a look at in the footage. They're going to both help to escape and engage targets, which is nice because double assassinations are confirmed that they're coming back. We also have the Shinobi bells, which is just another form of the throwable distraction tools that we're used to direct your enemies to move a specific way, giving you an opportunity to sneak by. We're also going to have the kunai, basically the Shinobi version of the throwing daggers, which can actually result in like one-shot kills when aimed with precision, so that's pretty cool. Separated from that, we also have the shurikens, which will momentarily stun enemies, but we're going to find a lot more use of these items when we're talking about taking out pieces of the environment, like lights, to create more shadows or to even create more distractions. So a lot of these animations do look brand new. They're coming out way quicker and seem to be more fluid compared to what we had in the older AC games. So I hope this level of quality not only persists, but will be worth making us actually come back for. Are you excited about what you've seen so far? Or have you lost all faith and is it too late for you to take part in the next Assassin's Creed game? Let me know down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you liked the video, subscribe and ring the notification bell for more, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles!